Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started with class today. I'm going to check in every once in a while for questions. You can also send a message in our chat if you have a question while we're going, because I have everyone muted, so I won't know if you're asking a question. Okay, so for class March 31st, 2020, just a reminder, did you take attendance today? So remember, second period teachers are putting up a poll on EDSB page to take attendance. Make sure you do that sometime today so that you are accounted for with checking in for classes. Just a reminder for extra help and extra resources on our Clever page. I have posted some Common Lit and Khan Academy digital classes for extra credit if you want some extra help preparing for the AP exam or the SAT. There is a video currently on our YouTube channel showing you directions on how to get to both of those websites. Mrs. Philpo is also offering writing conferences on the Zoom page for those of you who want one-on-one help from our writing coach. If you send her an EDSB message, make sure you're sending it to Mrs. Philpo because her husband is also in the system. She will set up an appointment to meet with you on Zoom, and you can sit down with a piece of writing that you've done for this class, and she can help prepare you for the AP exam. There is a new Parlay Ideas discussion board up. I posted it this morning. It is due on April 6th. If you check our EDSB page right now, there is a link on how to access that discussion board. It's right here. It will have a new code. Okay, so the invite code is different. If you go ahead and copy and paste that link into your web browser, you can start participating in that discussion board, and it is due by 3:40 on Monday, April 6th. I will start grading the discussion boards that were due yesterday, and I will start inputting those grades in EDSB when I can. So to prepare for today's class, just to reiterate, you will need a pen and paper or a pencil. You can also go 100% digital. That's what I'm doing. We don't really have paper. If you have your binder, you need your damp sweatsy / your cat swamped paper. It is in the rhetorical analysis section of your binder. If you don't have that, I also posted it on our Google Drive. It's called RHS Outline for AP. And you need a copy of Oh, the Places You'll Go, which is also on our Google Drive. All right, Tatiana, for your message, ignore me, do what your teacher says, okay? None of you are in my second period class, so do what your second period teacher says. We have a faculty meeting today, so I'll make sure to get information from Ms. McCoy about what's going on with attendance. Okay, so I want to start with the rhetorical analysis chart. So I was the one grading your RHS quizzes for our class. For the sake of this, I'm going to use the cat swamped model. I just don't want to have to go back and forth. It's the same exact thing. You guys came up with the acronym. So it's the same thing, just a different order. I saw a few different things happen with regards to these quizzes. Number one, I think a lot of you were not studying for the quiz. Secondly, I think a lot of you kind of confuse what these things are. So because the AP exam is now only going to be one FRQ, and I strongly believe it will be a rhetorical analysis, although I could be completely wrong. That's just my belief system right now. You're going to need to memorize this if you haven't already. The fact that it's March and some of you are still not getting this is not a good thing. So we're gonna practice one with this Dr. Seuss piece. So I'm gonna review the terms first, and then we're gonna create a cat swamped. You can do one today as I read to you, but it is for homework due tomorrow. So one of the first pieces out of the 10 is context. When we're talking about context, we're talking about the time and place in which the text has been created. You want to think about context as like the climate of the world we live in. So during that time period, what were some of the social, political, or historical issues happening during that time? A lot of the times, writers will be influenced based on social, political, and historical issues happening during the time period in which the text is created. Audience. Some of you get this, some of you are not doing it as well as you could be. Audience is a very big thing. It's not just name the people who are most likely reading this text and move on. When we're talking about audience, we're talking about their belief system. We have to specify what the audience looks like, and who that intended audience might be. So what are some of their beliefs? What are some of their needs? What are some of their values? That writer is trying to reach a particular audience, and it's going to completely influence the way that they're creating a text. Okay. The way that I might talk to my husband about doing dishes is not going to look the same as if I'm trying to ask my mom for help. Okay. So the type of tone that I'm going to be using is going to be different. The word choice I'm using will look different. Um, the way that I try to manipulate them into helping me is going to look different because I have two different types of audiences there. Okay. The way that I talk to my daughter is not the same way that I talk to you guys, two different audiences. So you have to be very specific when describing what you believe those values, needs, and beliefs are of our intended audience. Okay. It's not just simply naming the audience. Tone. When we're talking about the writer's tone, we're talking about their attitude, whether that's an attitude towards the subject they're writing about. It can be attitude towards the particular audience that they're writing towards. Okay, so it depends upon the text. We want to know what the tone, if the tone does stay the same throughout a text or if it does change. Okay, tones typically change in a piece of writing from start to finish. Sometimes the attitude might change. Okay, you also need to include evidence to demonstrate the tone. This is a big one that a lot of you got points off your quizzes for. Simply telling me that a tone is informal and happy will never give you points. I need to know what word choices is the author using or incorporating within the text to create that tone. So some of you need to get into the habit of finding particular diction there that's supporting that. Okay, strategies. What is the writer doing to construct meaning? Use your verb list. When we're talking about strategies, it's what the author is doing, not what they're using. What is the author doing? So that's where that verb list comes into play. Are they illustrating something in particular to create meaning? Are they illuminating particular definitions to help drive their point? When we're talking about strategies, it's verbs, it's what they're doing. Okay. For those of you who do not have your binder and you do not have your verb list, I have posted a verb list on our Google Drive. It looks a little bit different than the one we have in our binder, but it's the same idea. It looks like this. So there's a list of verbs. Okay, some of you are still mixing up your verb lists or your strategies with the devices. Next, the writer. Who is the writer? What do we know about the writer? What can you tell? And what do you know about the writer's life? What makes us think or believe that they are qualified to be writing on the topic or the subject, okay? So everything we know about the writer, including their qualifications. Appeals. When we're talking about rhetorical appeals present in the text, we're talking about ethos, pathos, and logos. Where are they? Why are they being used? Do not simply show me an example of logos, pathos, or ethos. I want to know why the author is incorporating those. What is the point of it? Simply pointing out things in a text will never get you points on your AP exam. They want to know why, okay? The other thing is sometimes you guys are forcing all three of these into a text. A lot of the times, all three of these are not present in a text. It depends on the writer. So don't force this. Okay, point out the ones that you notice and that you know you can explain why. Don't just point them out. Message, what is the writer's big idea behind the text? What does the text say overall? So when we're talking about message, we're talking about main idea. What is the author's claim? What is their argument? A lot of you are mixing up message and purpose. They are two entirely different things. Message is main idea. What is their claim? Purpose is what is the writer hoping to accomplish. Okay, there might be more than one purpose in a text. That is okay. By purpose, what do they want their audience to believe or to understand by the time they've finished reading the text? Okay, this is their purpose. This is their hope. Exigence. Exigence is what is inspiring, stimulating, or provoking the writer to construct a piece of text. Okay, the biggest thing you can think about is when we learned about Kairos, which is why now? Why this text and why is it prevalent today, now? Okay, devices. What does the writer use to construct meaning? So devices are the things that they are using, the patterns. You want to focus on their word choices. You want to focus on their sentence structure. Are they using imagery? Are they creating meaning through metaphors, similes? It can be literally anything that they're using, not what they're doing, what they are using. Okay. So there's just a review of what that looks like, and we're going to try to look for it now. Before I move on, does anyone have any questions? I'm going to start in about 1 minute. So 1 minute, I will start reading this if you want to pull it up. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to read this first, and then I will share some context information with you about Dr. Seuss and the book so that you can fill out the context portion of your chart. So, all the places you'll go. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, you're off and away. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your way, and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets, look them over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not so good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there in the wide open air. Out there, things can happen and frequently do to people as brainy and footsy as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew, just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true. The bang ups and hang ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on. You'll be left in a lurch. Yes, Miguel Gang Gang. You'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are then that you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right and three quarters, or maybe not quite, or go around back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind maker upper to make up his mind. You can get so confused that you'll start into race down long wiggled roads at a at a break. Why can't I read? Okay. You can get so confused that you'll start into race down long wiggled roads at a breaknecking pace and grind on for miles across weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, towards a most useless place, the waiting place. For people just waiting, waiting for a train to go or a bus to come or a plane to go or the mail to come or the rain to go or the phone to ring or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or a no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting. Waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a bed or break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying. You'll find the bright places where boom bands are playing. With banner flip flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky. Ready because you're that kind of guy. Oh, the places you'll go. There is fun to be done. There are points to be scored. There are games to be won. And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winningest winner of all. Fame. You'll be famous as famous can be, with the whole wide world watching you win on TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too. Games you can't win because you'll play against you. all alone. Whether you like it or not, alone will be something you'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go through your enemy's prowl. On you will go through the hack and cracks howl. Onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. So, be your name Buck Spam or Bixby or Bray or Mordecai Ali Van Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So get on your way. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do tonight is create a cat swamp or a damp sweatsy for class tomorrow. I will be using cards to call on kids to participate in our discussion, so make sure you come with something, okay? Don't do nothing. I'm gonna go ahead just for timing's sake to give you the opportunity to Google some things about when this book was published, a few things about Dr. Seuss, including some of his political backgrounds. He was really into politics, especially because he lived through 2 wars. So he did take a break from illustrating his own children books to actually create political cartoons. So I think there's a few things you can research for context and writer for this. I'm not going to do it for you because it is almost time to go. So before you leave, does anybody have any questions or anything they want to say?
I have a question.
Can't unmute yourself.
Um,